Okay, so it's 7:02, and I'm going to calling the April 12th meeting of the Economic Development Commission of the Town of Woodbridge to order. I want to first welcome, I know Ken, we have a new member that Jamie introduced last month, but I did not do so formally, and welcome you. So I'm thrilled to have Ken Campbell as a member of our commission. We want to move straight into business because we want to keep our commission running smoothly. I'd like to invite up two invited guests, John and Mary Gorham. They each are incredibly active in our town and have been active and a benefit to the town of Woodbridge for so many years. And I'm really excited to hear about what your businesses are and also some of your nonprofit work that you do in town. Well.
Thank you for having us. Let's do the microphone. So, yes, thank you for having us. My name is Mary Gorham, and I'm an executive coach, and I coach leaders and teams in nonprofits and mission-driven companies who are wanting to improve their results, bring their leadership and teamwork to the next level, and make changes. I do that a number of different ways. I provide one-on-one leadership coaching to leaders, primarily over the phone. I work with people all over the country for this, so it's nice to be able to do most of that over the phone. I also coach leadership teams as well as colleagues that need to work together more effectively and provide team coaching. I also work with organizations that are looking to improve their culture and make organizational changes, and I want to do so in a way that is not going to have unintended consequences along the way. And I do assessments, both leadership assessments and leadership culture assessments for leadership team. And so that groups can understand where they are and where they want to go and how they're going to get there and what actually they need to change in order to be the kind of organization they want to be. So I work with people, a variety of people and organizations, mostly people who are looking to create some kind of positive social and or environmental result. So that's a lot of different organizations, both nonprofit and mission-driven for-profit organizations, as well as entrepreneurs that are looking to make changes. Some people are looking to make a career change as well. So it's a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. I've been doing it for about a dozen years. And what else can I tell you about that? I've co-authored a book that was under the auspices of Case Western Reserve several years ago called Flourishing Enterprise, which was published by Stanford University Press. It was kind of an unusual situation. There were 9 of us who came together who all were interested in the topic of sustainability and spirituality and wanted to look at what is it that is missing in the sustainability discussion, particularly as it applies to business. And we looked at all sorts of very specific ways businesses could improve results by helping people connect to themselves and each other and their teams and organizations and systems more effectively. So I work with a number of people, as I said, in a variety of places. Most locally, I have some PhD students at Yale School of Engineering that I coach. I coach people in New York City. The president of KIPP NYC was the Charter School Network, which works with inner city kids, as well as the CEO of Urban Arts Partnership, which worked with kids also in some of the poorest schools in New York City that is using the arts as a way in with kids that have not been successful otherwise. Jonathan Rose Companies that is a for-profit company that is mission-driven, trying to improve environmental as well as social results by designing LEED certified buildings and also retrofitting buildings so that they're more energy efficient. So these are the kinds of organizations that I love to support just because I think they're doing really good work, and I love supporting people whose work I believe in. So that's a little bit about me. I don't know if you have any questions.
So you do this out of your house?
Yeah, I have a home office
Okay.
right here in Woodbridge, and I don't particularly like to travel, so I like to do most of my work over the phone if I can. If I'm coaching teams, I'll go in person just because it's kind of clunky to do that over video conferencing, although I have done that. Yeah, most of my business comes through referrals from people who've worked with me before, and they've had successful results, so they refer people they know who are looking for an executive coach to help them make improvements. And I always say to people who are considering using an executive coach, I always recommend that people talk to 3 different people and do a sample session with them. It's kind of like trying something on at the store. See who you're the best fit with, because everybody's different.
And how did you become? What's your how did you morph into becoming executive coach?
Yeah, it's So I years ago I went to the Yale School of Management and then went on and was doing organizational change work in Cummins Engine Company and GE Capital, and did that for a while, and then loved doing organizational change work, but really felt like I didn't really care too much about making diesel engines or financing credit cards, which were the 2 organizations' mission, and was very interested in how schools could be improved. So I left the corporate world, and then for a dozen years I was consulting to schools around Connecticut, primarily through the Connecticut Center for School Change, on all school change projects that they were looking to do, and would work with organizations that had gotten grants through the Connecticut Center for School Change to implement the changes that they were wanting to make, which was fun. And then did that for about 12 years and sort of thought at some point, I don't feel like I'm really learning anything new, but really enjoyed working with the principals of the schools. And that's when I decided to go back and get trained and certified as a coach, and did that, and continued to try to learn as much as I can, and also wanted to move beyond just the education field. So I love what I do more than anything. This guy here, my husband, will attest that I
love the business, not your husband.
I love you too, dear.
Okay.
But I really, really love helping people do what they otherwise aren't doing for whatever reason that is, and it's usually an inside game that is preventing them from being their best. So I help people do that and help them build the relationships that get them where they want.
Wonderful.
So, any other questions?
I just, but you also have background. I think of you both as sort of the environmental couple in town. So, and you seem to have incorporated that into your business as well.
I would just say, if anybody knows of anybody that's looking for a coach, I would just I can give you my business card and just have them give me a call, and I'm happy to give them a complimentary session. In addition to my coaching work, I also volunteer in town. I'm on the education committee at Massaro Community Farm, and organized the events at the library over this winter. Once a month, Massaro Farm at the library. We've had potlucks and movies, and we're going to have a presentation on herbs coming up later in April. So that's been fun. Just joined the committee in the fall. In addition, I can talk about this. Would you like for me to talk about the food discussion circles now?
Sure.
Okay. So a new initiative that John and I have been working to launch is to offer the opportunity for anybody in the community that's interested to participate in food discussion circles, which are basically groups of 7 to 10 people coming together over a period of about 12 weeks to go through this collection of articles that the Northwest Earth Institute has put together, that it are all sorts of articles on the topic of food and issues around everything from big ag, where the industrial food system that we're all a part of, and what it means when we're eating food that was grown very far away from us and we don't even know where it's coming from, and all the issues that are in that in terms of the environmental issues as well as the health issues for us. And also the emerging food systems that Massaro Farm is a part of that are local and which are trying to grow food in a way that is more sustainable and healthier for us. So food is something that we 100% of us participate in and is something that we can all connect over. So what we are doing is offering the opportunity for anybody who's interested in learning more about the many, many issues around food to come to an organizational meeting on May 7th at the library's meeting room from 6:30 to 7:30 on Monday, May 7th, to learn about how these groups will work, to join a group, to pick a schedule that will work for them, and to buy this book at a discount. We're expecting a number of people are going to want to join in, and the Northwest Earth Institute has offered us a discount for a volume discount on. So should be fun, and if you have a way to distribute information about this whole series, we have a little flyer that we can.
Well, maybe you can give it to Sophie. Then she can give it to the town. We have an email there are email blasts that go out, and there's a Facebook post. The town can actually.
Okay, great. So maybe you can.
But can you tell me?
We have a paper copy of it.
We have the PDF and we have.
Okay, so do it or just send it
Yeah.
electronically to Sheila.
Perfect.
Is probably because then you sort of cut out the middleman on that.
Sure, send it to Sheila.
Send it to Sheila.
Yeah.
Okay.
Send it to Sheila, CC.
Okay.
Whoever's email you have here.
Yeah.
And that's probably the best way to get it out. But what is the mission? Like, is there a mission behind that?
Yeah. So, well, first of all, the Northwest Earth Institute that has published this is a nonprofit group based in Portland, Oregon. And their mission is to provide curriculum materials for community groups that are interested in coming together for a sort of self-led course on a particular topic that has something to do with sustainability. So some of their courses have to do with things like how can you live more simply, or what, the energy efficiency or renewable energy. Food is very connected to sustainability for many reasons. And so groups that want to do this sort of thing, either in a community like us or in a workplace or in a school, can buy their materials. They have all the discussion questions all laid out here. They sort of laid it out so you don't have to be an expert at all. And the idea is that you would rotate the facilitation of these meetings. And for this particular course, there would be 6 meetings, each of which would have about an hour's worth of reading that you would do between each of the sessions, which would be 2 weeks apart. And then you rotate the facilitator, all the discussion questions already outlined. Of course, you can add your own or whatever you want. And, this could be something fun. People can combine it with a potluck or whatever they want to do. And for people who are really wanting to know more about what exactly am I putting in my body and what are the implications of that. I know personally, when I was growing up, I had no consciousness whatsoever about what I was putting in my body other than did it taste good. That was it. And it's just been very interesting for me personally, both through, Massaro Farm and reading on my own to learn more about the many issues around what we eat and its implications. Really fascinating. So,
Great.
anybody that's interested in learning more, too, they've
Thank
done
you.
a good job. But any questions about that, or? No?
Okay. We can switch to your other half.
All right, thanks very much for inviting us. I'm Jon Gorham. I'm really representing 3 different organizations, my company, Mazzaro Farm, and the Woodbridge Sustainability Committee. And Mary and I moved here 19 years ago, and people said, why do you want to move from Short Beach, Branford to Woodbridge? Well, it's because we had one young kid and another kid on the way, and we wanted to come to a place with good schools. And people said, well, but it's a suburban place and there's no community. And we've said, no community? What do you mean? We found this to be a great place because of the library, because of the schools, and we got very involved with Mazzaro and other things. So we're thrilled to be here. And, if you think of us as an environmental couple, well, we sort of gravitated to that because our kids grew up here, went to Beecher, went to Amity, and we really appreciate the town. So we want to do what we can. I started my career 41 years ago when I got a job at Maine Audubon Society in Falmouth, Maine. They just built a brand new solar building, air collectors, rock storage, and it didn't work. It was a terrible mistake. It was a bad building. My job was to show everybody, bankers, construction workers, school teachers, how great solar was. And it was tough because we would have to wear gloves inside the building. It was so cold. It was quickly, though, we figured out, scrap that air solar collector with rock storage. That was a bad idea. We put in a wood furnace and water storage, and we turned it around, and it became a very successful, very early commercial building. So my experience has been in construction, building energy-efficient homes. My business, Green Media Ventures, which was down at 264 Amity Road, the professional area. I was there for 19 years, and when our 2 daughters just left home, they're off in college, our older daughter said, Dad, I'll give you my bedroom for your office. And I said, well, thanks, kid. You're letting me take over some space. So I decided after 19 years, Peter Krosick was a terrific landlord. I've moved a month ago back to our house. So we have 2 home businesses. And part of what I think your challenge and our challenge is how do we support home-based businesses? I had a great experience working down there at the Woodbridge Professional Center, but now for economic reasons and because I'm not that involved with some of my business ventures, I'm happy to be at home. So that's one thing. My company now does business development. Over my 40 plus years of business, I've started 7 renewable energy conservation companies, nurtured them and sold them. I have a master's degree from Yale School of Management. I spent 8 years working at Science Park in New Haven when it was probably one of the most trashed out brownfield economic development projects in the country. So I spent a lot of time down there dodging bullets that were actually shot out.
Were you working in the building, or were you working trying to
I had a
reclaim the
business.
building?
I had a business there called Science Park Associates, and we did business development consulting for the entrepreneurs who were there. There was a startup. Lenny Bell had a startup called Alexion. It came out of there. So have 400 other companies. So I have a background in that. In terms of the 2 projects I'd like to talk about, this is the Mazzaro hat that I'm wearing, and we spend a lot of time branding Mazzaro. Branding because for business development, you have to get out there with new ideas. So coming up with a logo, is important. And the 2 things I'd like to quick talk about Mazzaro are because Mazzaro is an economic enterprise in town. Most of you have probably been there or members of the CSA and whatnot. My job as development director has been to raise money from the beginning. Between Farmer Steve and me and our board, we've raised over $1 million for the farm. So it's been a successful enterprise, and I think you'll see all the work that's gone on there. 2 ways we raise money are through this Rock to Rock bike ride. This is coming up in a little over 2 weeks on the 28th. We're going to sign up some of you to be riders on our team. I know that for a fact. And if you don't want to ride a bike, you can be either 5 miles, 12, 20, 40, or 63. You can do a metric century if you want, 63 miles. It's really just a fun ride. It's a fundraiser. We raise about $25,000 a year on this. We also have dinner on the farm, which some of you have come to. And that's my job, raising the money for that. We have big plans there to build a learning center eventually, and Farmer Steve wants to have a year-round food processing.
And your job has expanded.
And my job title has expanded. I'm now president of the board. Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes, don't wish what you ask for or whatever. You can get yourself in too deep.
Is
But-
Rock to Ride just benefit Miss Arrow Farm, or are you just
No.
riding as a team?
What Rock to Rock is, it's an Earth Day celebration that was started 10 years ago by Common Ground High School and 2 other not-for-profits for people down in that area in West Rock. And then 6 years ago, I put together a team. We call ourselves the Melon Heads. We have watermelon helmets. And we have about 20 riders right now. It's a fundraising fun thing. It's sort of like Closer to Free, for Smilo. It's that on a very minor scale. Because we might raise 30 environmental organizations might raise $250,000 as opposed to $2.5 million for Smilo. But hey, we're just small little environmental groups. So we try to have fun doing that. Mazzaro's come in number 1 5 years in a row. So we have team spirit. The other thing I want to make sure is Farmer Steve says, make sure you sign up for the CSA. We have 200 members that pay for year subscriptions, and now we're going to have half year subscriptions.
Yeah, I saw the mailing. Can you explain that?
Yeah, the way the CSA works is you prepay. It's $690 discounts if you pay early for 20 weeks of food, and there's so much food. Steve has been so productive in his farm staff. It's almost too much. We can attest to that. So since our 2 daughters are gone now, we can't eat 20 pounds of kale and 4 bushels of carrots and all this stuff that is produced every week. So we're offering half shares. So it's $300 or $350.
And does the person who owns a share then get to specify exactly which week they want? How does that work?
You can do 2 things. You can only come 10 of the 20 because you might be on vacation or something like that. Or you could come every other week on either a Tuesday or a Friday. And the way it works is, as some of you know, we set out whatever is fresh that week. It's usually 5 or 6 different vegetable crops, or we do grow strawberries. And you pick up a clump of radishes, a couple of squash, whatever it is, and you end up with 2 or 3 big grocery bags of produce. So that's the CSA. Rock to Rock, we'd love to get you to participate in our team, or go to the website, rock2rock.org, and you can see our team. Mazzaro prides itself in being number 1. And we always sell out our dinner on the farm. We always sell out the CSA, but we want to come to the farmers markets here. We go to the.
But you're here at this farmers market.
Here at this farmers market, we sell to 8 restaurants. We have honey. We sell honey. We sell tomato sauce, stuff like that. We'll probably have a farm stand this year too.
We'll have a farm stand at the farm.
Donations.
Yeah, we have approval from planning and zoning to put up a farm stand. We haven't done that just because we're busy. Last year we gave away 15% of the produce to people in need. So 10,000 pounds of fresh organic produce to Spooner House, to Senior Services, to Salvation Army, to Connecticut Food Bank. So that's part of our mission, give away food, teaching nutrition education in the schools. Emmett O'Brien Voc Tech School, we just do a ton with our Food Corps volunteer there, working with Griffin Hospital and stuff. Anyway, any questions about either Mazzaro or my business? The other thing I can do is I can give you a very brief, if we could jump in the agenda order on the Woodbridge.
Before we move
Go
there,
ahead.
so your business is, just for people who are watching, is exactly, what are you doing you said you sold a number of business. What's your business now that you're doing out of the house?
Yeah, my business right now is I do interactive multimedia business development and marketing. So the thing I'm focused on right now is I build digital archives for clients. So for example, I have one client that just wanted to donate a whole bunch of memorabilia for the Armenian Holocaust in Turkey. And she hired me to do a digital documentation and provenance for 350 priceless artifacts and ship them over to Greece. Or another client had me catalog and provenance 200 paintings that have been given to 8 different museums. So it's something I do because I understand digital marketing, media, that sort of thing. So I'm not doing energy businesses per se, because I spent 40 years doing that, and now spend a lot of my time volunteering at Mazzaro on the sustainability committee.
Great. So yes, if we can move ahead in the agenda to item number 9, that would be great.
Okay, so as chair of the sustainability committee, what happened in 2005, Amy Morella had just been, she was the first select person, and she got a grant to start an energy task force. And then she got a job up in Hartford running the DEEP. So she left, and then there was really nobody to do this. A meeting was called. A couple of people, Board of Selectmen and another volunteer, asked me if I would come because I knew I had some background. I showed up, and they said, well, you're the last person here, so we're going to make you chair. I said, Gerald, what? Anyway, I ended up being chair of that Clean Energy Task Force for 5 years. And that's where we got the solar collectors on the high school. We began the work for Beecher Road School, the retrofit of that, and a bunch of projects in town. So that's my background there. What happened when Ellen left and Beth came in, and you reconstituted a sustainability committee. Beth asked me if I would get back involved, and I said I could, but on a limited basis. I would be happy to try to pull together a team. So here's a progress update on what happened recently. Last night, you may have heard at the Board of Selectmen, they passed a resolution to request that our elected officials promote virtual net metering and shared solar. And what that means basically is utilities now were capped out. Woodbridge had a whole project on the transfer station, out by the transfer station, the landfill, to do a solar, ground mount solar community project. And we were all in line to do that. It cost the town $0 and bring in tens of thousands of dollars. But the state had capped the number of those projects they could do. And then the company that did the JCC solar installation, that same company, Deutsche Eco, was going to do this for us. But because of the state situation, and we have a ZREC, or the ability to make that work financially, that resolution was passed. So that's one good piece of information.
So that project will now proceed.
Well,
what is that funding?
What that means, that's the big question.
Okay.
That Themis Clarities and George Logan and our representatives have to push for that before the legislative session ends. So that's one thing that's happened last night. The other thing is we're working with Amity High School and Beecher Road School to do a waste reduction pilot project in Beecher Road School for food, to make sure that kids understand they shouldn't be throwing their lunches in the garbage can, that there's a price to that. And it goes back to what Mary's done with this. When you look at food, ways to mitigate climate change, of the top 23 things we can do globally, 5 of them are related to food waste, and food production. So food is a very important theme of the Sustainability Task Force. And we're working with Beecher, and kids from Amity High School are going to help us do this pilot project. The apples and the food and all the bio waste that's not there is going to Mazzaro Farm for our worm composting project.
Good.
So
Right. We jump back. You said about sharing, how the sharing energy that was going to happen and may not happen. If this project goes through up on Acorn Hill, how will we be able to share?
Yeah, good question. Shared solar means if only 25% of homes in Connecticut can really do solar on the rooftop. 75% can't because of shading, or its roof's not big enough, or it's not facing south, or whatever. But you can, if you have an open space like a landfill that's never going to be developed, or the top of a big box store, that's a perfect place for solar arrays, like top of Beecher, for example. You as a consumer can share in the benefit of creating that electricity. So it will reduce your electric bill.
So how do I then share?
So let's say 50 people can buy into that.
Okay.
And it could be a lottery, or if people want to do it, 50 people would pay in that, X dollars, and then you would get credit on your electric bill.
Okay.
So that's what that means.
But this is not set up now. This is sort of in the pipeline?
It's all ready to go, and it was approved.
Okay.
And we have the ZRECs, but it's
So as soon as the town is able to get financing, and then how do the citizens who are watching this then, if they want to get involved in sharing in that electricity, which I imagine will be cheaper perhaps than the electricity coming down from Canada?
That's exactly right.
Okay.
That's the idea. It's an economic advantage. It could be cut your electric cost per kilowatt hour in half, or it's got to be a drastic reduction, and it has been, given the economics. The way that would work, let's say you're a Woodbridge resident, and assuming this whole thing went forward, like we hope it will, then there'll probably be a lottery, because who would not want to do it?
Right.
It's pretty much a slam dunk idea. So that I need to report on that. We've also done work on electric vehicles, making sure that the charging stations people realize that if you have an electric vehicle, you can use the charging things free of cost. But people who don't have electric vehicles shouldn't park there. Then that happens a lot. So that's an awareness thing. The other thing is we're doing energy audits, working with Sheila and Terry Gilbertson on monitoring the energy consumption in all the town buildings. There's solar on the library now, solar on Beecher Road School. So we're always looking to reduce the costs. And lastly, we are part of the sustainability task force as part of Sustainable Connecticut. Sustainable Connecticut is a statewide program open to municipalities in 10 areas where towns are given points for doing things in 10 different areas, like community planning, wetlands, zoning, energy audits, etc. And the nice thing about that is we've done so much work in this town that we're probably going to qualify already just on past work in at least 8 of those 10 categories. Wow. What that does, it means Woodbridge has access then to funding for certain projects that we might do. The microgrid, the solar at the teen center. We've done a tremendous amount of work in this town, plus all the solar challenge. Some of you have solar, that sort of thing. So that's pretty much my report on the sustainability. Question?
Anybody have questions? Well, thank you for all the good work. I mean, it sounds like, as I said, I know you, I know both of you from work that I've done back in the power line, from trying to keep them away from kids. And I had no idea of the depth of your involvement in town and how much you made a difference in the quality of life here. And it's wonderful. So thank you.
Well, thanks for giving us a chance.
Yeah, fun.
It's been fun, and we have kids that we want them to have a good life and live in a healthy environment. So we're pleased to be here. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for the work you guys do too.
Yeah, thank you very much for all that you're doing, and thanks for having us.
Before you leave, we do have one item in the agenda that you should be aware of that you might be interested in. We'll talk about it later, but the JCC, let me see, on Tuesday, April 24th, is having the New Haven Chamber of Commerce come and have their morning mingle meeting. And you guys might want to come, and we're going to send it out to the business community. in town, but it may be a great way for you to network. And certainly they have solar there. And sort of, I mean, I think it's wonderful. Another opportunity for you to educate more of us as to what we can do better.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
So moving along to item 3, we have minutes from February and March that need to be approved. We have a quorum, so we are entitled to vote. I was not at the March meeting, so although I did watch much of it. So if I can someone can entertain a motion to for the February minutes, to approve the February minutes.
Make a motion to approve the February minutes.
All in favor? Oh, second. Sorry, second. Anybody? Okay. All in favor? Okay, it passes unanimously. And for the March minutes, if I can have a motion for that as well. Okay. Second. All in favor? Okay, so that's Ken and Jamie. Okay, we abstained because we weren't there. So if you need help with names, let me know.
I think I got it.
Okay, okay, great. So actually, your turn now. Right?
Okay.
So when you're done writing. So maybe introduce yourself to the people who are watching, because we've met you, but they may not have.
So my name is Sadie Colcord. I'm the Municipal Services Associate for the Connecticut Economic Resource Center. And so basically, I'm just going to kind of talk about the work that we've been doing over the past month, and just kind of get your input on some of the things that we've been doing. So one of the things that I'll start by just listing a few events that are coming up that you all might be interested in attending. In addition to the JCC event, the bike ride, on the 26th of April, there is the New England Knowledge Quarter conference, which is entitled Mayors Meet Millennials. So basically the I-91 corridor from New Haven to Springfield, and it's a good opportunity to kind of network with elected officials and hear some interesting, topics related to the Knowledge Corridor. And there's also going to be a Wallingford downtown showcase on the same date, the 26th of April, through the Connecticut Main Street Center and the Connecticut Economic Development Association, just kind of showcasing what Wallingford has been working on, which maybe would be something that would be
I actually
relevant.
signed up for it.
Okay, great.
I thought it would be really.
Well, I'll see you there.
Okay.
It should be an interesting event. And then also on the 15th of May, there will be another networking event through the Connecticut Economic Development Association in West Hartford. Details to be announced, but we'll keep you informed of that. So moving on, the town is going to be sending out an e-blast to the businesses sometime next week on kind of talking about a variety of topics. The first is advertising the event at the JCC, giving detail on the DOT project, which I will be talking about later on. And then I just kind of wanted to get your input on, is there anything else that we should include in that email, in this communication to the businesses? Anything in town that's going on that you think would be important?
I mean, I think obviously the things that Mr. Gorham was speaking about.
Right.
It would be nice to promote those. But I mean, I think my concern was getting the JCC event promoted, because having the Chamber of Commerce come and be the New Haven Chamber of Commerce is a big deal, actually, to have them come to Woodbridge.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because Woodbridge is actually not a member of a Chamber of Commerce at this point. Correct me if I'm. There used to be apparently a Bethany and Woodbridge one, and somehow that sort of fell by the wayside, and then nothing took its place.
Okay.
And so it's wonderful that JCC has gotten New Haven to join, and there's a reduced price, I think, for Woodbridge businesses too. They will be given, I think, member pricing basically if they attend.
So that's that. Let's see what else. So another thing that I wanted to talk about is kind of planning for the upcoming months, topics that we'll be covering at the meetings. So for May, and give me feedback on this. For May, we were thinking that we will do a business visitation workshop. It's up to you whether you want it to be at the meeting, before the meeting, a different date. That's something that I'm not sure.
How long do you anticipate the workshop taking?
Probably an hour and a half, I would say, would be somewhere around there.
Okay.
What will the topics be for that?
We'll basically kind of bring samples of what we've used in the past for collecting data, just kind of what types of questions we need to be asking businesses. It's going to mostly cover that, and just kind of get.
So you already have a questionnaire that you have devised.
Yes.
That you will encourage us to ask
Correct.
our businesses.
Yes. So I mean, we can deal with that over email or figure that out, but that's one of the things. And then the other one, the other thing that we wanted to cover in May is putting together a business resource guide, kind of discussing that and reviewing past examples that we have done at CERC in terms of covering information on the land use regulatory process, giving contact information so that it's easy for a business looking to come to town. You give them this document and they can, it kind of guides them along the way, something like that, and just having a discussion on that.
I think that actually takes priority in my mind.
Okay.
With respect to the questionnaire, what will you do with the data? What will you then analyze the data for the questionnaire for the
business visit?
Yeah. Or do we just? What is the goal of the questionnaire? Is it data, or it's just for us to
data.
discuss a meeting?
I mean, it'll probably be a combination of quantitative and qualitative data.
Okay.
Yes, I definitely just to kind of get an idea of the sentiments of the businesses in town, and kind of a variety of information,
Okay, so
contact information.
let's have enough discussion. But personally, we really do need the resource for new businesses to come into town. We've talked about that for a very, very long time. So I certainly think that that takes.
And we have samples that we'll be able to bring, and it shouldn't be too difficult to kind of translate it to what Woodbridge does. I would imagine. So okay. So I'm not sure. Yeah, maybe we'll then push the workshop for the business visitations off a month, or we'll figure out a time to do it. And then for June, we were wanting to do a workshop and discussion on getting business sponsorships, specifically with regard to the wayfinding signage. We were thinking that maybe, obviously the price tag for doing the entire project is large. So just working with businesses to see if they would be interested in just sponsoring a sign.
And can that be done in conjunction with the visitations and the question? I mean,
I'm sure that we could figure out a way to combine them. Maybe the business visitation questionnaire, includes, are you willing to sponsor, or something along those lines.
What's going to be the vehicle to get the word out to the businesses about these upcoming events? I think that's one of the biggest. It's a key piece to try to get to the individual businesses, not necessarily the retail, but inside the buildings and those who have small offices that aren't necessarily walking from the street.
Right. Yeah, I mean,
that's direct mail. Is it going to? Do we have a database?
I'm not sure. I think that the town has an email.
We do have
contact
we have
list.
an email contact list.
Right.
Whether people open their emails is the same as whether people open their snail mail. I mean, we can't control that.
Right.
Does that include the home office businesses?
We try. Just as background, a number of years ago, we did not try. And it was thought that businesses in home were discouraged. Mika and I actually went to a conference run by, I'm not sure if it was CERC or another organization, that basically said that most businesses come out of home nowadays. And so so economic development really should encourage and include home-based businesses in the hopes that one day they will actually need more office space or frequent businesses in town, and to realize that they themselves, the home-based business, are themselves an economic engine.
So that was in terms of, upcoming topics of conversation. That's about it. Another question I had, in terms of scheduling for the summer, do you have, a lot of EDCs don't have regular monthly meetings?
So what we do is, I don't believe we have an August meeting, but
Okay.
on our July meeting, we tend to use as outreach. And our meeting is scheduled the night of one of the concerts.
Okay.
And so we set up a table at the concert, and it would be wonderful if this year, if you can help us figure out how to get a banner for a table. Silly. So like we go and we have like little things, but if people could actually know what we are, I think that could be a reusable banner, so we could use it each year.
Yep.
And because many people in town don't know that we exist. So, I think it's too soon to have that brochure prepared, but maybe next summer the brochure could be on the table.
Okay.
The other thing that would be a good idea to tap into the JCC's co-working space as we go forward and trying to get the word out, because just in what I've experienced from the various co-working spaces that I've managed or been a part of, they raise businesses, they cultivate businesses that then graduate to go move into larger spaces and take on their own offices in the town that they are. So I think that if we tap into the JCC's co-working space, I think it's going to be a good source of getting the word out.
Yeah, I know that we've, when we kind of went through at the beginning of all this, the priority is certainly working with home-based businesses and just developing those contacts right from the start, and then, maybe holding an event for home-based businesses so that they can network and meet us and, kind of meet the resources that are available to them. That's definitely should be a priority, because there are always so many home businesses that you don't even realize exist in town.
And maybe it's a good idea to reach out to those people for the July concert. Just let them know we'll be there if they want to come and talk to us, and that we're sort of open and available. A lot of those folks will be at the concert anyways.
Okay, so that's about it in terms of just kind of the general discussion. Do you want me to move on to the DOT?
Oh, absolutely. That's really important. And that's also really important in terms of what the email blast will be. I mean, perhaps that I'm tossed up between the JCC and the DOT, which should lead, or if it should be two separate email blasts, and maybe it should be.
Okay, I'll ask Sheila about that.
Do it twice, one way and the other the other way. One is not enough.
Okay. So basically, the town has been in communication with DOT, but they haven't been super forthcoming with information, especially not a defined schedule. What we know right now is that they're going to be starting work next week.
Next week. Okay. And
So-
do we know where the work is starting?
Basically, what I put in the information that I gave you, I gave you kind of the locations that they're going to be working on, and specifically what they're going to be doing. I'm not sure which specific location they're going to be working on next week, but I guess just expect they haven't been forthcoming, and as soon as we know more, then obviously we're going to share that with you. And that's another reason why we weren't really able to do an event for this month, or who knows, maybe not even next month, because we don't have that information yet.
So, but more specifically for the people who are watching, what we're talking about is, and I don't think anybody can see this map. Do we know if this map is available online anywhere?
I'm not sure, but I can.
So the three spots I see that will affect anybody who's watching, because you're going to want to know, because it will affect traffic in the short term. It looks like the intersection, the exit 59, coming off the southbound. It looks like there's going to be construction there. There's going to be signal issues. Then going towards New Haven, Pond Lily Avenue is marked in red, so there's going to be some construction there. And then I believe there's widening going to take place on Litchfield Turnpike, so there'll be some construction between Lucy Street and and Wilberforce Parkway on Litchfield Turnpike. So everybody might want to avoid those areas if they can, because I think it's going to take a little bit longer than usual to get through. But again, it will the goal is to raise those intersections from an F rated intersection to a C minus. But we'll take any improvement at this point, because that's all we can get from the state at this point. But actually, I went to one of the seminars, the presentations by the DOT, and what was really interesting to learn is that the traffic projections that the state had made a while back are actually not coming to fruition because of GPS and apps like Waze, that people are actually, your phone is telling you that there's traffic ahead, and so you should go a different route, and so traffic has actually not increased in the way they expected it. On the side streets, of course, it has, but in these really congested areas, they haven't seen the increase they were expecting.
So yeah, that's all the information I have on DOT. So I guess just moving on.
Okay, well, thank you, and welcome. We're thrilled to have you.
So one of the questions last meeting was informing the businesses down in that area. Mm-hmm. And how aware are they of what's happening and
right.
what they can do to help try to stay in business?
Mm-hmm. I don't think it's going to be that bad. I don't expect it's going to be. The amount of construction that they're scheduling to do should not be, I imagine, that disruptive, because they're widening the road, and then repaving and putting a little concrete in. So I don't think it shouldn't be terrible. I think the town needs to send out an email blast, and I think the DOT really should be sending out an email blast. I mean, it's not the town. We don't run the project. The DOT runs the project. I would love to see, and I don't know if you can reach out to the DOT to make sure they're sending out a press release, the New Haven Register, or to whomever, saying this is going to be happening. It's kind of ridiculous that they're not giving you timelines. This is going to be happening. These are the dates. These are the hours of construction. And then if DOT can create the press release, then I think the town should then get the press release and push it out in their ways, as well as, I'm sure if DOT puts out a press release with the information, then all the local media will pick it up.
I know that the town was planning on doing a press release and doing social media, e-blasts, business visits, the whole thing. But yeah, DOT, I'll try and figure it out if DOT is what their plans are.
But even if CERC can just get that information somehow.
Yeah.
Someone created a press release, either the town or
or DOT.
Definitely
a press release.
Because then
will
we have
be written.
information, and then if we can get it, we can make sure that our contacts know. And I would be most concerned about the Starbucks. I think the business that will really be affected are the gas station, the new gas station, Starbucks, the dry cleaner, like that whole strip is going to be, and then tangentially, Lucy Street will be affected.
We'll be using the New Haven parking lot at the Amity liquor store as a
It's
road.
terrible. It's terrible to begin with.
Like a road, as it is.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Yeah, actually, now that you say that, there was some traffic issue. I drive to Wallingford almost daily for my son, and there was some traffic issue. I saw as I was making a turn at the wrong time, so maybe they actually started. No, it was when I made the turn coming, I was going to make a turn to go off of Ramsdale towards the highway, and I saw it it was backed up on the right side, but Walgreens never gets backed up, so I actually went up and around.
Oh, there's construction over there.
Oh, okay, so maybe that might be part of this, because it may have started in New Haven then, because that was construction there and making that a more walkable area. When it was built, it was never walkable, and so they're going to try to tighten that area up so people can actually use a crosswalk properly. and I think they're going to put a concrete median. Is it showed? I didn't miss. Oh, I didn't look at it
That's the
carefully.
fork, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe, yeah. So maybe they, so yes. So, yes,
So they've already
so be aware when you're driving to quickly make detours.
Like,
But thank you. But yeah, you're absolutely right. It needs to be communicated, but it's not, I mean, we can ask them to serve to help us and DOT, but we don't really have the power and we don't have the resources to do it. However, if we get the information, we can get it out as well as possible. But that's all we can do. We're kind of short-staffed. So, we good?
Yeah.
Okay. Moving along then. So, update on TP&Z progress on new zoning regulations. Well, I attended the meeting last week, and I thought we were going to make really good progress, and it seems it's slowed down a lot. And so, initially intended to ask, I was speaking with the chair of TP&Z that we were going to try to review what they were doing and come to consensus. And now it seems they're going more slowly, so they're not ready for our input. The next meeting, that they are simply going to roll out the definitions of and of the different areas and the new zoning regulations. So they're kind of slowing down a little bit, which is honestly a bit discouraging, because I'd like to see. I know personally, I have business that I've been in touch with that wants to move to Woodbridge, and they need Class A retail space.
how much space?
What?
How much space?
How much space? I think like 1,000 square feet. But the one Class A building has restrictions in their leases. So it's a spa, sort of a spa, and so they can't go into that building. And we have one Class A building in town. We have the highest income in the area, and we have one Class A building. And so we have businesses really who want to move here, take advantage of our central location to the highway and central, location. The fact we have, thousands of cars coming down our two state roads, but we don't have space to accommodate really the type of business that we could maintain. So I'd like to see this move along quickly, but I don't know.
I do know the Urbano's project got approved.
We did.
It did get approved for 7 condominium units, no larger than 1,250 square feet each. Would be parking underneath the building.
Okay. It's on Hazel Terrace.
On Hazel Terrace. They are open to other possibilities for that development. The Urbanos are open to other possible users for that space other than condominiums.
Right.
So if there was a business looking to come into town that was looking for 8,000-9,000 square feet of their own headquarters,
Right.
But they did get approved, and
they, but they think it's economically feasible to build what was approved.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah, they do.
Great.
Yeah.
Good.
Next project.
What?
That's their next. They're finishing up something that they're working on, and then
Okay.
it seems like they want to move forward with it.
That's great. That's great, because I also know that there's the need for people to downsize in our town. People want to maintain a footprint in the town, but not as big a residential footprint, not as big as a home that they want. And there's really no place, again, no Class A space to downsize to. So that will be great, because I'm sure it will be wonderful. And so Ken was not here. Jim came before us Jim Urbano came before us, our commission, in September, I think, asking us to, if we would give sort of a letter of encouragement to TP&Z that we thought his project would be beneficial to the town. And so he gave us a whole presentation, and we voted in favor of that. And I wrote the letter, and TP&Z received the letter. And so that's how, that's how we got involved in helping a local developer build something that we, as EDC, after listening to him, voted and thought that would be beneficial to our business community, or our economic, not even our business community, just the economic development of our town. So, so there will be 2 meetings on zoning, but I don't think it's anything that we have to go to at this point. Moving along to item 7, I think we've referenced this a few times. The New Haven Chamber of Commerce is having their morning mingle at the JCC at 360 Amity Road. That says Rod. Tuesday, April 24th, from 7:30 to 9:30. The town will help us to get the blast. I know that we've worked very closely with the JCC, the EDC, and the town has worked very closely with the JCC over the years. And JCC has been in touch with Betsy Yagla and Sheila about blasting this out. So I'm sure, and I encourage each of you to attend because I think it'll be a real opportunity to meet local businesses. And if you haven't yet toured the space, I know we had our meeting, what month? January meeting was there. But if you haven't been in the space, they did, I think, a fantastic job.
I wonder if they'll give a list of the president.
Oh, I'm sure. We can ask.
That way we
That's
make sure they're on our list, because
Right.
there'll probably be some that we don't have.
Yes. But how will we define if they're, I guess we'll just, if they're Woodbridge or not, I would just look for the address.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's what I'm saying.
now most people just give email addresses, so it may be hard to ascertain whether they're Woodbridge
Well,
or
the
not.
chamber with their database, they would know if,
Okay.
if it's a member or not, and if it's
Okay.
a member, they know
Okay.
where they're. So.
We can certainly ask for that. For sure, and I'm sure the JCC is asking for it as well.
That's true.
So we're talking a little bit on the next item about commercial real estate in Woodbridge. Anything new to report?
I don't know how specific you want to get. I mean, sort of know what's going on. There's some businesses that are going out. There are some that have grown and expanded a little bit.
Okay, so fill us in.
Oh, how specific should I get on those that are moving out?
Well, I know the eyelash place I heard was moving out.
That I didn't actually know.
Okay, that's what I had heard.
But Palette Art gave notice, so there is
Who did?
the art studio down at
Oh, really?
245.
Okay.
Yeah, so that space is
Okay,
1,300 square foot space in a Class A building with another salon in it.
but there's restrictions in the other leases, I guess. And I think
It's
they
come
lived
to
in it.
my knowledge that the bake shop looks like they're going to be moving out. So that's another 1,000 square foot retail space that's going to be available. Some smaller businesses have moved from smaller spaces into some larger spaces. So I mean, there's a lot. There's vacancies and there's some growth, and then there's some people that are just haven't made it. I honestly think that we as a commission can help these small businesses that come in, especially these retail businesses, by going to them personally, maybe going and having a meet and greet at these spaces to just try to bring in the local people. If we could sponsor, just bring it. If we had a couple bottles of wine and said we're going to do a little networking event at the store, come meet the Economic Development Commission, meet the new owners of the business, and I think that there's ways to try to help these businesses get off the ground. And there's property out there that's for sale. I mean, a lot of the Parati land is for sale.
Right,
now.
I heard now. So, that's actually a big development, right? So they're selling in fee simple, not just a ground lease.
Oh, it's yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Down at the end of Bradley Road, Bradley Road, the big, huge. I forget it's 1 Bradley Road, isn't it?
Tennis Central.
Yeah, where the bubble is.
Yeah.
That piece of land with the building behind it.
Huh.
That's 5 acres of land.
Okay.
That's for sale.
Huh.
There's a building on
Subject to the tennis central lease, or?
Yeah, the lease would be with it. The tennis ball lease would be with it. The garden center obviously is for sale.
Is the garden center all in Woodbridge though, or just?
Actually, you're right.
It's not. It's,
Yeah,
I think it's not in any of it.
I think
It's New Haven
You're
because
correct.
Chase is New Haven.
Across from that piece, though, Luciani's stuff, is that going to be available for lease? Because I saw today he's doing a lot of work on that building.
Oh no.
That was the one that went up for auction right next to where, the one I'm talking about?
No.
It's right across from Tennis Central. there are two buildings. Luciani was in one. There's the one next door that he bought, and they're just completely redoing the building. New windows, new everything.
I don't know what they're doing there.
That's
but
where
I'll look into it.
that drama group was out of, that theater company.
Yeah.
And so that might be new office space becoming available.
There's some ground floor space available where the JCC was at 1764 Litchfield.
Okay, right.
There's like 3,000 square feet in the main lobby. There's another 2,400 square feet in the back of the building that could be utilized as have its own designated entrance. So you could have a space that could be a doctor's office or some sort of walking off out of the parking lot space.
Well, do you know why it is? I mean, that Yale has not looked at Woodbridge for medical offices in the way that they have in North Haven. I mean, I was just over in the North Haven complex with a friend yesterday on Divine Street, and it's amazing. Like literally, like looks like a hospital now. They've signed it. They've signed the entire parking lot for Yale New Haven.
I'm guessing a lot of it has to do with accessibility from the highway over there.
Okay.
That's a guess. I mean, being so close to 91 over in that area. Merritt, as you could see, Andy was telling me he just went to a chamber event at the new apartment development they built in Hamden on Mather Street.
Okay.
And for him to go from Milford to Hamden at 5 o'clock, it took him like 40 minutes.
Oh, wow. That's crazy.
I mean, so if you're going to try to get into Woodbridge at the time, it's sort of tough on the Merritt Parkway right now.
Get out.
It really is hard. Or get out.
Mm-hmm.
That's just my 2 cents. Otherwise, I think this is a great place for Yale to be, being the town has so many Yale-type folks that live in it. It would be seems to be a no-brainer. I mean, you have the Smilo building that's in the back. Was that on Lunar? I don't know exactly what they do there. It's just an administrative facility.
No, it's treatment.
Oh, that's right.
It's
an
what?
outpatient.
It's a treatment.
Outpatient.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think a lot of people would love for Yale to sort of expand into the town.
But do we need to reach out to Yale? I mean, like they know we're here, or I mean, or is that they just come to the brokers?
I think reaching out to Yale is not a bad idea.
So maybe we can figure out how to do
Would it
that.
be reaching out to Bruce Alexander? I mean, is that
I don't know who. I don't. Well, I think it's the medical. I don't know that he does.
It's a
He's
start.
Yale
It's
University.
a start, right? Yeah. But that's sort of it. I mean, not really any sort of.
I heard there's actually a lot of work going on in Friday. That I heard that New England Brewing is expanding. They're going to buy their parcel.
I'm not sure how it's working, but I think there's some work. There's something in the works with the dealership and that piece of land.
Right. So what I heard. So
Yeah.
what I was told. I don't. So they're going to be. New England Brewery is actually going to be expanding. And the ownership will leave to however they figure it out. And they may actually have some sort of patio. So they can have much more of a social sort of experience
They're doing
there.
great.
And they also, I think, are opening one more day a week or something.
They're open on Tuesday now.
Yeah, they're open on Tuesday.
Well, the patio, I believe, has been approved. The
Yeah.
expansion is phase 2.
I
So
see.
I have them on our list to come to one of our meetings
Okay, great.
to talk to. So I wanted to mention that as one of our upcoming
Okay.
business speakers, is to have
Great.
them come back
Mhm.
and sort of do the same thing. They
Right.
can come in, tell us what they want to do, and if we
Have
so
them bring a
choose,
cake.
give our blessing.
Uh-huh.
So I can do that for either say May or June.
Okay. Well, maybe we're going to do
Business resource guy.
business resource.
But just as our speaker.
So we can have them as a speaker in May. It's the other one.
Yeah, I'd rather-
The questionnaire would take a
Right,
long time.
right.
Yeah, I'd rather
So-
not put them off based on their
No.
experience.
Let's
Okay,
bring
so I'll
them
reach
in May.
out to
Let's bring
them.
them in for May.
And
Maybe
this
a
is
good credit for them too.
What?
I mean, we may have extra people in the room that day, and it may be a good time for them to speak.
Right.
I'll reach out to
Yeah.
Marty's the new marketing guy there, but obviously Rob's been here, but I talked to him.
Right. Rob used to be in our commission before he moved to Bethany.
And then I also have OPG as another company. They're at the end of Research Drive. I met with them the other day, and they have space. You were talking about potential space for another business to use or do something with, and they have a really nice conference space that they said is available for use. So they're one that is interested in coming.
What is
your
your business?
They're business consulting,
Okay.
but they've got a dozen people now. They're going to be doubling their size in the next 2 years.
Okay.
So they're doing well. They're actually looking to expand as well, looking for more space in town.
They're the ones who came up with the idea to bring in the food trucks
Yep.
for the lunches
Oh,
and
okay.
stuff up down there.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And are they going to do that again?
We
or-
started up
Yes,
in, I talked to the woman who coordinated for them, I guess, in a couple of weeks now,
Okay.
actually. They'll
Can we
start up again.
how can we get that information so we can get it out to the town to promote it?
I was on the email list. We can ask for it in advance. Maybe there's a
Yeah.
schedule.
Yeah, there must be a schedule. It's not. If we can get the schedule, then we can give it to the town to put in the newsletter.
They're
Yeah.
lining one or two up in advance. I don't know how far out. I mean,
Okay.
She just started it. This is
Okay.
one of the staff members there who
Okay.
came up with the idea.
Uh-huh.
And so she was, made sure there was enough interest in the area. We said yes.
Mm-hmm.
But she started sort of midway through the summer. So it didn't get a whole year worth of traction. But every week there was somebody different there. And it was great. All the neighbors would come out.
And is it a
and walk
specific
in.
So,
time each week, or is it?
It was Fridays,
At the end of research
11 to 2.
Okay.
So if you pass for research, you go down to the end. There's a business down there that they thought it'd be a cool idea to sort of invite a food truck in once a month or once every couple of weeks on Friday or whatever day, and invite all the local
Friday.
business to come there and just sit outside and eat lunch, get food.
Yeah, they
food
put a
from the
picnic
truck, and
table out.
Sort of like a midday networking, and it's a nice way to just meet your neighbors and have a nice bite to eat and just enjoy. It's a quiet street, pretty much, and you can walk around there. So it's a neat idea. And there's picnic tables that are actually set up on the side of 11 Research and stuff like that, so people can sit and just sort of.
11 Research is Bayer.
11 Research is where OPG is.
They're right at the it's
the very
Organizational Performance Group.
Okay.
Maybe we can. I was thinking timing wise, we could. It doesn't seem like we have enough room on the agenda for next month, but if we wanted it next month, because then they could also talk about that as well, or we could put them off till June, and we still have the summer to talk about it. So
Summer's going to be pretty. I mean, summer we really don't have the summer.
right.
So we've got the meeting at
Well, no,
at
but
the
I'm
concert we
saying.
get nothing done.
But I'm saying if
So-
we had them at the June meeting, they still have
Oh, right.
the summer
No, we can
worth
have
of
them in
trucks
June,
and
or
stuff.
we could do two businesses in May.
That's what I'm wondering what you.
Yeah, I think we could do two. We could do both because they really, actually, they should get to know each other. So there might be some synergy between
Yeah.
New England Breweries.
Yeah, I've met with two folks from their staff
Uh-huh.
from OPG, and they're both very interested in being more engaged in the community. So
Yeah, I mean, I think we can have them both next
Okay.
month.
Oh, there is a new business moving in. Was it where? What was the other print shop in Selden Plaza?
Advent.
Advent's out, and there's a photography studio. It's a woman. She does photography, but she also does photo booths, and she provides photo props for proms and stuff like that. So if you had a king and a queen, then they should do a big
Chair.
a big
Right,
throne and stuff like
okay.
that. So she's excited to be there. I know that.
So she took over that space?
Yeah.
Wasn't that a big space, though?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
and it'll be a nice little addition for over there. I think it'll be good for the town. So that's another person that we could put on the list for maybe down the road to come
Right.
in.
Right, and I had
I'll
actually,
get the name of the business.
when I
for you.
got the email that printing place Advent is
Joyce.
merging with Joyce, I sent an email inviting them, but I had not heard back. So if anybody has any contact there.
I've been buying from them lately. I've
Okay,
followed
so maybe
up
you
with
can
them again.
ask them to come in September.
And they're on my list. I mean, I have like the better Beagle, the Better Beagle. And I had reached out to them originally, and they did have interest, but we never just coordinated a date. But just so Sadie, so you know, I keep track of all this stuff. Who we invited, who's on sort of the hot list, and then the ones that I've invited reached out to several times, and just get nothing back. And then ones that have declined. So I sort of keep track of all that.
The Deli Delish on that? Did we invite them over?
Yep, I
Yeah.
followed up with them. I emailed them. I went there. Yeah, that was one that 2-3 times. Same with Tom down at Blue Check. I mean, I finally gave up.
I think
So
oh, sorry.
there's a couple that tried, and that's why I keep track of them. Like Cynthia from Today's Clothing, emailed her. I talked to her. I've been in the store twice, and they seem to have interest but never want to commit.
And didn't Blue Check expand or do something?
Oh yeah, really nice.
So maybe, and they're not interested in
I didn't follow up with him again. I was there 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
But it looks really
Okay,
nice. It's
yeah.
like night and day from what used to
Wow.
be there.
Okay. So maybe we can get
Yeah,
them
not
on
expand it, but
Facebook.
just clean
Yeah,
up
yeah.
the whole
Bring it up a little bit.
Yeah.
A lot.
salad bar,
There's a lot of
soup
construction.
station.
Maybe we
Over
can
the next
ask
little bit.
for, although it would be nice to go to new businesses, maybe we can ask New England Brewery when they're here if we can host something there.
It's just amazing the amount of people out there. I was
Yeah,
out there Friday night, end of Friday night, last Friday of every month they do a big event.
Mhm.
I mean, there was a couple hundred people there 2 weeks ago.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. There was so many people, they shut down parking in the front. They're sending them around to Starbucks, and they opened the gate so people park
Wow.
over there. They had probably a 20-piece band in there. They had the Yale Jazz Band in
Oh, wow.
Where's this?
at the brewery.
Really?
The back half, they cleared the warehouse out.
Yeah.
Wow.
And they used that whole, so not just the tasting room
Wow.
was packed, the
Wow.
entire warehouse was packed.
Wow.
They had the outside open, but it was raining that night.
Wow.
I mean, it was, yeah.
Is that their
jammed.
final Friday?
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what it's
the
called.
Final
Thank you,
Friday
Final
events.
Friday.
Uh-huh.
So the last Friday of every month, they're going to be doing these big sort of
Pet
things.
friendly too. Oh, they
Yeah,
actually
very
did
pet friendly.
that pet event too on last Sunday. So yeah, they're doing a lot of community
Okay.
events.
So maybe we should try to also get their, I mean, they're obviously promoting this. If we can get their schedule and we can push it out as well. Because they're really an asset for the community. And they have good beer too. All right, anybody else have anything? We have no public left in the audience to
You know,
comment.
I did hear one other thing. When I was at the last planning and zoning meeting I went to, there was a couple who had bought the little farm on Center Road. And they were planning on doing a farm stand just for flowers and plants. And I haven't heard
So the one near
anything
the
about it.
field.
The one near the field.
Right. Well, I saw they had an egg sign out.
And I saw a back loader or a front loader, and
Okay.
I just don't know if anyone's heard anything about it. It'd be cute if there were cool if there was a little
Yeah.
flower stand right on the road for people to shop at. So I don't know if anyone heard anything about it or not. But
Because the season has to cooperate so they can grow the flowers.
yeah, I just haven't seen anything being put up. So I don't know.
We've one other thing we've been talking about doing an event for us or for the business community, and it actually came out of an idea from CERC, because you guys just did one over in North Haven. You did an economic update for the city or the town of North Haven, and I thought that might be something that would be interesting for our business community if we had CERC do an economic update for. A little bit on Woodbridge, but more for the region. I know the chamber does them and stuff like that, but if we sort of hosted our own and it became an annual event where CERT came in, talked about the Woodbridge, the local region, the economy in the state of Connecticut, and really made it sort of like one of our things is the
Right.
annual economic
Right.
update breakfast, and
Okay.
give everybody, it's sort of like every spring you look forward to the economic breakfast.
Okay.
You do it at a place that could host it, like the JCC or something.
Right.
We can have enough room for a decent sized turnout, and with CERCs, it's already, again, you've got the template to do it.
So what did you exactly? Did you attend the one? I'm sorry. Did you say you attended the one for North Haven? Or?
I just saw the email
Okay,
that you
so
had
what-
just done one, so.
So yeah, it would be our head economist, Alyssa DeJean. She does these quite often. It'll usually be, she'll focus on the town or the region, and then if you want her to go into national, international, I mean, it can be customized, but
Okay.
and it can be 30, 40 minutes long, however
Okay.
long you want. But yeah, it's a great event to have for the business community. I think it always brings out a pretty good crowd because it's a topic that a lot of people are interested in. So.
And do you typically do it as a breakfast or after hours thing?
I think for that type of an event, probably a breakfast.
Okay.
That's the way we usually go. But I think the one in North Haven was after hours, maybe. Yeah, I mean, it really, you can do it either way. But
Do it after hours at the brewery.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's what I was thinking. That.
yeah, that could work.
Great. Any news on Wheelers? Is there anything?
I haven't heard anything. I haven't heard any. Not a word. Doesn't mean anything's happening, but I haven't heard it.
Okay. All right. So if there's one, did you mention Kate when last month that she had resigned? Because I don't think she.
I don't know if I did or not.
Okay. So Kate Brown was a member of commission for a very long time. She was actually the founder of the Scarecrow Festival, which is now the Woodbridge Fallapalooza, and she's decided to spend more time on her business. And so we want to thank her for her years of service and contribution to the town. I am sure she's a resident of the town. I am sure she will still be really active in Fallapalooza and in good things for the town. Unfortunately, she will not be sitting up here with us, but I'm hoping that we will have her back for an update, perhaps. Is it the month of October? So September, if you can, we can invite her or whoever she designates for Fallapalooza to come in and brief us so that we can help promote it and give our support. And I will reach out to her separately, actually, to see, because in the past, we sort of talked it, each month we would talk about it, and we would help her through. So I think I'll reach out and just find out if there's anything we need to do in advance. We may need to put that on the agenda earlier in September. Great, so can I have a motion to adjourn? Second? Anybody?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
It's unanimous at 8:23. Thank you.